What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode. My name is Mo, and today we are going casual with the robe, and we are calling this time Race Space. That's terrible. But I took space, race, and I just switched it and put race, space, and made this the space where we can talk about race. That's creative. I don't know what the fuck y'all are saying. That's creative. Okay, let's start with the elephant in the room. The shooting of Ahmaud Arbery was terrible. Don't forget Breonna Taylor. Actually, arguably was kind of worse because they had a warrant to find some drugs. Showed up to the wrong house and completely shot her. I think it was 8 times. I don't remember if her boyfriend died also, but I know she died. It went, widely unreported. But that's really what I wanted to focus on. And race, what I think it means, what does it mean? And I have this trouble of sometimes, just suppressing my opinions on race because it's like a language dialect. Everyone speaks it differently, everyone understands it differently, everyone has a different accent, and no one can seem to agree. But if a vast collection of people start spewing the same thing, then it becomes a language. There's no such thing, I hate like the S sound. There's no such thing, perfect. There's no such thing as, a perfect analogy. But you can somehow take the same lingo or the same dialogue of a group of people and associate it with a certain message that gets, displayed to others from different perspectives. Even if they don't know that they have, some people don't even know they're racist. But we'll get to that at the end of the video. I have trouble believing that CNN, Fox News, MSNBC really care. This is stuff that's been happening since the beginning of time. And for once, this little shooting that probably happens every day, to be honest, and the prison system is not any better than what's happening outside in the real world, that this one shooting can take up almost 2 weeks of news coverage, which makes it more like a circus. It's truly a circus, and I don't mean that in an offensive way at all, but there's no way that you can talk about a story for 2 weeks, one shooting, one life. We have to be humble with ourselves and realize that this was just one man's life. But this happens every day. It wasn't that Ahmaud Arbery died. No one cared about that. It was the signal of black oppression or white supremacy, some racism that these two guys somehow represented. And if you look at the two shooters, Michael and his dad, they look literally like the stereotypical racist dudes. And I hate that because it's going to continue this bland imitation of what we think racism is. And when we truly ask ourselves, what is racism? We kind of just say, oh, let's watch the news and find out. And we find out through the news, and it's like, no, this is not what's happening. Because the news itself is in itself discriminatory. And the news itself withholds stories. So, because we have to understand that their goal is not to educate us, their goal is to entertain us. So the fact that this news story was 2 weeks of amazing headline news with all these videos, it's like, now y'all are so interested. It makes me almost uncomfortable. I'm not the most trusty person in the world, but it makes me almost uncomfortable to think to myself that they actually care that much. Every video was just, look at this, look at that, interviewing the lawyers. Do you know how many people are just in prison waiting on their hearings? It's just, for once we care about this one person's life. And I want to bring up the NFL, actually, because the NFL came out just yesterday as I'm recording this, saying that they will incentivize teams on hiring black executives, black coaches, by increasing their draft picks in the 3rd round. So you could possibly, if you were to hire a black executive, a black coach, and keep them for 1 year, you could possibly be from the 3rd round of the NFL draft, which everyone knows is a big deal for teams trying to rebuild and all that. I'm not a huge football fan, but it is a big deal that you can go up to the middle of the 2nd round. That is from Rob Parker, Fox News, or Fox Sports. He's one of my favorite commentators. He keeps it very real. He's been fired from ESPN. He's very edgy, but and most of the time he does have a good message to him. And he called it disgraceful that a league that has mostly African Americans has very little executives, 2 executives, and there's black head coaches. For example, the one in Arizona. The Arizona Cardinals hired Steve Wilkes in 2018, kept him for 1 season, and tossed him to the curb. This happens a lot. Jim Caldwell had really 2 out of 4 seasons. He had a winning record in Detroit, and now you look at the coach there, 2 losing seasons in a row, and they're keeping him for a 3rd season. So you look at these things, and it's not about the direct racism. It's about how many chances people get. And if you think about the chances, that's really what explains a lot of these shootings. You know, a lot of times people don't have a chance to explain. People don't have a chance to show you who they really are. People don't have a chance to show you that they are, you know, unarmed. Like, we jump to so many conclusions. And I truly do blame the media. I hate the way the media makes it seem like this is life or death. This is not life or death. This is life. And we're dictating death by our own behavior, by our own lack of sensible, not even, we have morals. We do have morals. We have fear. I was talking to my roommate about it just last night, actually. We were discussing the term phobia. It means fear. And if you have like hydrophobia, you're afraid of water. But if I called you homophobic, it's like you discriminate. But we have to realize the phobia part is real. The fear is you not knowing. Like, if you've never seen an Arab before and I pull up in a kufi and, you know, just start reading Quran to you, you might think that's like the bomb check. Like, I never know how uneducated or educated you are. And sadly, we don't get educated that much on accepting all cultures. More is weird. History class was very weird now that I look back on it. I don't think it is necessarily white history. I think it's American history, and, you know, the victor tells the story. My boy Chuck told me that, actually. So if the victor tells the story, but we can't always blame, you know, how we're taught. Oh, you should have taught us this. No, you have the ability to research things by yourself. There are things that happened to you when you were a kid that is now dictating how you view the world. This goes on to people. If you grew up in a bad neighborhood, and just say a lot of minorities, you are probably comfortable with minorities. If you never grew up around any minorities, how the hell do I expect you to be comfortable around minorities? Like, humans, we're not born geniuses, nor do we get smarter with age. Our IQ goes down over age. Our willingness to accept new ideas goes down. When you're in your early 20s, that is the height of your IQ, and that's why people who like life coaches will tell you, you need to read, you need to keep learning, because you will truly get dumb, and the worst part is you will not know, and this dumb is called ignorant, and ignorant is ignorance. Ignorance is vast, and education is vastly underachieving. But I think it's underachieving in perspective. I think I say perspective more than anything. I got it from my coach, Hollifield. He was the best person in the world for me. But he literally told me, just have perspective everywhere you go. There's nothing that you can't look two ways. Every crash has two sides. Every story has two sides. Every fight has two sides. And we somehow love to jump on the side that's, you know, massively incarcerated with opinion, but like opinion that won't get us hurt. It's almost like jail, and there you do what you're supposed to do. In jail, you know, whether if you're in a maximum security, you're going to join a race gang, or you know, if the gang tells you to do something because you're a subordinate and you're a newbie, you're going to do it. The same thing out here. Most people feel like they have to always just keep preaching what CNN tells them, what Fox News tells them. Like, these two news channels have become the representation of what opinions are. And that's so sad, because I watch both the channels and I'm like, both of you are full of shit. So I would just encourage you guys to, you know, just read articles, and don't just look at titles. Titles are meant to make you click. It's like a YouTube video, literally. So click the title and actually read the article. Like, there's been studies that find that, like, literally articles that people scroll like halfway and then back button. So yeah, stay educated, guys. But I hope that helped. I want to send my condolences to all the families out there continuously, like today, right now. And I wish all of you the best in your ways of perspective and race, because it is important and we have a long way to go, of course. Love you guys.
I got enough talent to light up Chicago. I might move tomorrow. Pack bags.